What's up, JEFusion fans? This is Philip and welcome back to another video. So, last year I forgot to record a couple of Gunpla review videos. Anyways, this is the start of a new year and I am actually going to review those models today. So, anyways, it's going to be a 2-in-1 review video. So, anyways, let's begin. So, starting off, considering that 2026 is the year of the horse, I am going to talk about the HGUC Gundam Unicorn Destroy mode. So the original mold was made in 2009, but considering that this has the blue Bandai logo, so this has been a later reprint of Gundam Unicorn. So anyways, let's take a look at this bad boy right here. So honestly, by far, this is my biggest HG yet. Yeah, I'm that simple. So as you can see, that's no the Unicorn Gundam. So you do have like the head there. Yeah, I'm not gonna move this around just to show the articulation. Like the drill, I guess. But anyways, so this guy, so as you can see, the thing I really like about this is how like the clear parts have been used. So you can see the shield, like most of the body is decked out in this clear reddish plastic, which is really nice. Again, it reflects the destroy mode. And as you can see for the accessories, so it does have the beam magnum and the shield. Now, as you might see on the left hand, it is equipped with a beam saber, but actually, this does not come with beam saber parts. Now, this beam blade that you see right here is actually taken from the a stray red frame that I had like a few months back. And this is actually specifically meant for the Baku head arm part that I did not bother to assemble. So I thought, wait, considering the peg, I might as well try it in here. Otherwise, so the beam saber handle that is equipped on the left hand is actually stored onto this area right here. So yeah, this does not have any beam sabers or any beam effect parts. However, there's also like this area on the arms, so you can actually like flip it open, not necessarily like flip in a, how do you say, like jointed way. So you take it off and you flip it open like so, and there's, as you can see, there's a hole, and you can attach any beam effect part, preferably in the same color as this beam saber, like reddish pinkish beam part, to keep it consistent with the plastic, the clear parts. So they are in the same color actually. So if you do that, so you can do the beam tonfa, and yeah, you can do it with the left arm as well. Again, the thing is, this does not come with its own beam saber parts. So if you do have like spare beam saber parts lying around, again, preferably in the same color, yeah, you can use them as well. Also at the back, as you can see here, there's an attachment point for basically the magazines for, or the extra e-packs for the beam magnum, which is really nice. It's big, it's bulky, and it does have this I don't know, like handle on the side, so you can wield it with both hands, but really not that necessary in my opinion, or I don't really use it. So yeah, overall, I think the articulation, overall design is really nice. Again, it is a big boy for a high grade. Yeah, it's definitely, again, like the biggest I have so far in terms of high grades. Now, I'm gonna get into some issues right here. First off, the V fin is kind of loose. I did try to attach it as fit as possible, but yeah, the end result, it's still a bit on the loose side, but yeah, not necessarily a major problem. But there's also something on the hand. So I don't know. Like the hand actually, like, it's not really like fit in there. How can I explain? So let's say my arm, right? It's straight, but if we're talking about the HG unicorn, like, if you really press the hand like into the peg, like the instruction manual says, it's gonna look a little bent inwards. So I did not actually set the, I don't know, like this attachment point for the hand really inside. So it's looking weird. So I didn't really put it all the way in. But overall, again, I am enjoying the design really much, very much. Like, it does have like big accessories and whatnot. Again, the articulation, it's standard high grade, stuff. But uh, again, I do think that it's stiff, but I guess it's because I haven't been moving this a lot, and I prefer not to move my kits around so that the joints stay longer. But yeah, overall, this is a decent kit in my opinion, even though it's from 2009 originally. So I'm gonna give this, you know, I'm giving this a 4 out of 5. It is generally a good HG kit. So, anyways, moving on to the next one. So, again, considering this year, so apparently, wait, I can see part. No, I thought this was from a Gundam part, but no. Anyways, uh, so yeah, considering that this year one of the lucky colors is gold, I'm talking about the HG Akatsuki Owashi. Oh, I am actually going to show the box. There we go. So there we are. So Akatsuki Owashi, or Owashi Akatsuki Gundam. So original design from 2006, but this also has the blue Bandai logo. So this is a reprint. Now, I have been thinking about getting the RG version, but I decided to just get this one for two reasons. Number one, RG is definitely much more expensive. Number two, the the RG Owashi Akatsuki has a glaring issue, especially with the hips, considering that the backpack is supposed to be heavy. Uh, the main issue, according to most reviews that I have seen, also on YouTube, by the way, the hip joints, I think. So apparently, Bandai used like part of the inner frame of the Ale Strike Gundam, which came out a long time ago. And that Ale Strike Gundam is apparently one of the so-called early real grades. So early real grade Gundams have this pre-built inner frame that is infamous for losing, structural integrity over time. They end up being quite loose, basically, which led to, gunplay enthusiasts calling, it's become the so-called early real grade syndrome. So yeah, I didn't want to deal with any of that, but I have found the cheaper alternative. And might I say that, I actually do feel that this is much better of a deal in general. So, anyways, as you can see here, so this is the Akatsuki Gundam in its gold plated glory. And yes, I am not using gloves, so yeah, there are a lot of fingerprints you might see closely if you look at the detail, but I am still using my bare hands. This is my kit, and I do what I want. But again, standard HG, I guess, for the time. However, for the legs, so I really don't want to um, take off any parts again, just to keep it, tight. So considering that this is from a much older time period in Gunpla history, so the legs are like on a ball joint, so they don't have the thigh articulation, basically. But yeah, it's surprisingly tight, so it's held on by some like polycaps on the thigh. Again, this is much more in an older style of assembly. So I guess that's the first issue that I have to address. Or it's not really an issue, but again, considering when it came out, so they were still like using older designs, I guess. So I do think it's time for a revived version, if I'm being honest. Now, another thing that I have to mention here, so this is the Owashi Striker Pack, and as you can see, there are a lot of things that are missing in the colors of this thing. So, the black and white portions on the wings, you know, honestly, I can no longer be bothered to put on those stickers, so they're just not in there. And by actually not putting those stickers, I can just show off more of that gold right there. And you can actually remove the backpack, so I'm not gonna do in this video, but yeah, you can see right here. So this is how the Owashi Striker Pack looks like, as a separate, somewhat like a jet. However, it's actually not uh, somewhat like a core fighter or core splendor, if we're talking about Gundam Seed, because this is more of like a drone that can fly independently without a pilot. It doesn't have a cockpit actually. So another thing that I'm going to talk about is the shield. So there is obviously something missing here. And the kit does not include anything, neither stickers nor parts to color correct the shield. So around this area, this inner area is supposed to be black, and the cross is supposed to be white. So if you do want that color accuracy, you're gonna have to paint it yourselves. But again, as for me, I can no longer be bothered to do that. So, however, if you see, rather on here, so if you look at the left shoulder armor and the right front skirt, so you do see the Akatsuki symbol on there. And these are actually rub-on transfers. So I will admit, this is my first kit that had rub-on transfers. So this is my first experience with rub-on transfers. Yeah, you do cut them out of the sheet. I use the tip of my file, modeling file, and then just, like scratch it onto the surface, and it did turn out okay. I do have a lot of spares in there. So another feature of this kit, so as you can see, the Owashi has these beam cannons on the side, so I can move them forward. I'm gonna move them forward, and there we go. I just popped it off the ball joint, so yeah, it's held on by a ball joint, but there we go. Right, so now I've moved the beam cannons forward, and yeah, you can slide this one open. It's actually really tight, by the way. There we go. And then yeah, yeah, it slides open like so. Yeah, that's the beam cannon. So as for the other accessories, obviously you can see right here, and the ball joint pops off again. Uh-huh. But I can just swing it way to the back. There we go. There we go. There we go. Yeah, there we are. So, okay. Now, as you can see on the right hand, we have a standard beam rifle, and this is, I guess, an issue in my opinion, but not necessarily a deal breaker for me. Uh, so you do like this is like the sandwich style beam rifle. You place it in between like the hand parts, but it's still like fit loosely in there. And we also have like the beam saber on the left hand, also kind of loose fitting right here. Now, for the beam sabers, you do have like a couple of varieties of, or a couple of versions which you can use. So you can use the single version beam saber, and the single version beam saber can actually be attached to this part of the beam rifle, making it more of a bayonet. So considering that, as you can see here, we also have two beam saber parts, which I really like because they're not your typical beam saber blades. So, you know, like in comparison to this guy right here, so typical beam sabers are like, like rounded. This one has flat beam blades, which actually have like a really dynamic base. As you can see here, it fans out, and yeah, I do like that design. So you can also do it like this. So this is like the combined version. So it fits. I fit it on the left hand, as you can see here. But again, you can also use like the double beam saber handles. So like one on each hand, or rather one on the left hand and then one as a bayonet. But if you are not using those single handles, so there is a mounting point on the side skirts, both sides, so you can just attach those handles in there if they're not in use. But I didn't use those parts anyways. Now, again, let's talk about like the overall aspect on this one. I really love the gold, honestly. So I did decide to get this one. I just prefer the look of the Owashi over the Shiranui. But yeah, it is a more like simplistic style in my opinion. Like it is flight capable. It has like powerful enough beam cannons, I would say. But I do like the overall aesthetic of the Akatsuki Owashi in general. So again, for the price, it is like at least 5 times cheaper than the RG that I found. Considering like the RG that I found on the same store, where I got this, it was 10,000 yen, and I got this for 2,500. So yeah, much cheaper. But yeah, I do really like what Bandai has did with this thing. Again, it's not the best in terms of you know like quality. Again, this is from an older time, so I you know hopefully Bandai gives it a revived treatment. Giving it the HGCE. So this is still like, as you can see in the box, it still has HG Gundam Seed, uh, as compared to like later models that have come out recently, like like the Seed Freedom guys. They were all marked as HGCE, and they really come with, in general, like better everything, I would say. But yeah, other than that, again, like the stickers that I didn't put, or the rub-on decals that I didn't use as well. But overall, uh, I still love the shiny gold presence on this thing. Yeah, I'm also giving this a 4 out of 5. So there you have it. These are actually really good, uh, like to start off the year. Even though technically I bought and built them last year. So this one I got again. I mentioned in September, and this one I actually got a couple months later. So around November, if I remember correctly. So yeah, these two, my way of starting 2026 in terms of Gunpla. So, anyways, thank you so much for watching. As always, please do leave a like, comment, share, subscribe, and don't forget that notification bell so you get the latest from JEFusion. This has been Philip, and I'll see you next time. Bye.